Welcome to Journey Festival International 2020. My name is Khalid. I'm a member of Manchester Roots Group. You are now about to watch Freedom of Movement. This project is a series of videos by migrant artists based in European countries. They explore the lack of freedom and movement that most of people seeking asylum experiences. I would like to share with you some experiences I faced before I get my refugee status, and I know many of refugees and asylum seekers, they are struggling for freedom of movement before they get their work permitted, and thus affect them on work and also to travel abroad as well. Many of these artists, as far as I know, they have talented and they can't show what they have because of the restriction they are facing. But everyone, we need a support to all of these artists, and that's why we are here to this project focusing on them, to give what they have. And again, the support is the greatest way to build their skills and to show the world what they have. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy this project, and see you soon in Manchester.
I've been here for 2 years. I watch the sunset every single day. It's the saddest moment of the day, because you realise that you have lost another day of your life, waiting for news that never comes. News that can change your life and that can free you, like you have this remote romantic place in a forgotten world. In the first days that I arrived on this island, I slept under a tree and watched the rays of light that passed through the leaves of the tree and reached my face. Hours and hours, I was in a state of shock. I thought once I arrived I will be forever free, but I was wrong. Here I was deprived of my freedom. I can't do anything except waiting, and I can't go anywhere except for the food queue. Sometimes when the atmosphere of the hotspot became suffocating, and I just ran away from this invisible prison. often come here to watch the waves that fight against the beach with all their strength. It seems useless, but at least they have something to do to fight against. I said to myself, I'd like to fight too, like Sisyphus in Bane. Today all hotspot kids have diarrhea. I saw a little Syrian girl standing in the line to go to the doctor. Her mum put a big black garbage can in front of her so she could throw up more easily. I do a search immediately on the internet. I buy her some juice to recover the fluid she has lost. I try to talk to the doctor and he says it's not serious. Everything is caused by the dirt of the field and the garbage accumulated there. The next day I make a group and we clean the field. Tension is high in the camp. Everyone is talking about the pandemic and coronavirus. Someone asks me what happens if the virus gets here.
I answer, do not worry, the virus will never arrive in this place.
Well, we move this year a person. We are separated from the world. Another says, I hope it comes because at least someone realizes that we also exist, and maybe all this disaster changes. Everyone says it's true. Hopefully, the virus gets here soon. Something unknown that shook the world and frightened many is our only salvation.
These days the camp is in total silence. You only hear the annoying sounds of cicadas and the wind waving plastic bags around. No one could leave the camp without serious motivation.
I spend time drawing. I no longer have any white paper to paint on. I start drawing on my drawings. I don't like beautiful panoramas and beautiful phrases to make tattoos anymore. I have a tornado in my brain. I throw it on paper and he starts to devour the most beautiful thoughts. In the camp, fear reigns and nobody comes out of his shack or tent. The food queue is no longer crowded. It seems that fear of contagion is stronger than hunger. In reality, I often don't eat camp's food because it really sucks. I don't know what to do for hours and hours. I look at the ceiling of my shack. At night I go out without going through the entrance to the camp, which is surveilled by police. I go to a beach that I discovered some time ago. There is a full moon.
There is a full moon. There is a full moon. There is a full moon.
Strange ideas come to mind. I would like to dive into the sea and swim away from this place, but I will die without doubt, like Icarus who drowned in these waters, in the indifference of the whole world. The next day an idea comes to my mind. I can take food for everyone so the others don't have to go out. In Samos, there is no coronavirus, but there are many other problems. Problems that seem unsolvable. Sometimes trying to solve them creates new problems. There is the boy who hopes to get sick of the coronavirus. We call him Mohammed, and he thinks they will take him away from the island if he gets sick. After 2 weeks of isolation, there are still no cases of coronavirus. Mohammed has lost hope of getting sick, but he is happy because the children return to play in the field. rescued a boy who hanged himself. Yesterday we brought a boy to the hospital who had drunk a detergent to commit suicide. Suicide seems the only way to escape from this island. The streets of the island are becoming crowded. There are the first tourists. Today I met a smuggler. In exchange for 200 euros, he prepared me a false document with which I can leave for Athens. I managed to sell my shack for 150 euros. I will leave next week and I do not know where to go, but I can no longer remain. I have to go and continue my journey like Ulysses, trying to reach his Ithaca. I know that the closer I try to get, the
closer I try to get.
I have to go and continue my journey like Ulysses, trying to reach his Ithaca. I know that the closer I try to get, the further away I go.
The walk. The walk is a hope. The walk is a need. The walk is not a desire, it's an urgency. The walk. This urgency is not created by us. The walk. The walk is a question of inequality, question of power, questions of privileges. The walk is a gesture. The walk is solidarity. The walk is being and standing together in tough times. The walk is distance. The walk is duration. The walk is pain. The walk trains. The walk have history. The walk have life. The walk is dependency. The walk is beginning. The walk is an end. The walk is continuity. The walk is art. The walk is life and its continuity. The walk is love, sheer love.
My recent work is called The Art of Walking, which I created in collaboration with Abhishek Thapar, my dear friend. The art of walking was a walk between Amsterdam, Netherlands to Calais in France. It was a 13 days walk, and we walked from Amsterdam to Calais, and the last day as final action, we cooked some food and shared with the refugees in Calais who are waiting to cross the ocean and go to UK. So basically the work came from an urgency of what was happening back home in India. During the corona, India went on strict lockdown, and a lot of people who were working in the cities, the migrants who were working in the cities, they were jobless. And the capitalist structure, which is built on their sweat and blood, didn't feel the need to support those migrants. And buses were shut, trains were shut, not running. And then after some time, these migrants didn't have food to eat. They didn't had money to pay the rent of the place where they were staying. So they waited for a few months, and then they started walking on the roads towards their villages. These places were, their villages were around 300 to 2,200 kilometers. And they started walking for 1,000 kilometers, 2,000 kilometers. There are stories that a woman who walked for 1,300 kilometers, and then she was pregnant, so she gave a birth, and then she again walked for 300 kilometers. Also, there was stories, not stories, but fact that there were some migrants, they were walking, and if you go to the borders, police used to not let you in from one state to the other state, because they want to perform that everything in this state is quite okay. So these migrants were taking the railway track route, and there was 12 people. They were tired and they were sleeping on the track. And one train came with goods and luggage, and actually they got killed on that. So these were the things happening back home in India. While this was happening in India, in European media, it was not, people were not aware of those things that much. So the art of walking work was created, one, to raise awareness that, hey, this is also happening at front of us. Second, to find ways also to directly support those families who are walking back home. Yeah, so, okay. So first, before come to Calais, I just want to tell from where I come. So I come from eastern Uttar Pradesh, which is on the border of India and Nepal. And eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar are the two places in India which are hub of migrants. Like because they have poor education, poor healthcare, no jobs, so they go to cities to work. And that's why this issue was so close to me. When I started thinking about the walk, I was thinking that why this work is relevant in this context, the European context. And I started Googling and tried to find out about the migrant issue in Europe. And then the Calais pop up several times. So in Calais there are a lot of people who are waiting for months, for years, just to cross a border. And they don't have certain ticks and crosses on their papers, and that's why they cannot enter to that country. Like they are waiting for entering to UK. And from the place where they live, which they call jungle, the European state called jungle, the UK is just 33.3 kilometers
from Calais.
From Calais, and but they are not allowed to reach. And every day there are a lot of boats goes there. So what I want, why I was doing it, one, because there are refugees and migrants who are living there, and that was really interesting way to talk about the issue of migration and migrant in Europe and in India. People create artwork when they get fun, and then they create an artwork. While with us, because for years I have been creating artwork and then trying to find space to perform it, to present it. So this new framework was quite interesting and different for me. what happened, usually the artists here, market decide the discourse and then the artist follow. And why I'm saying, I will give you the exact example. So some days the market said that today we will give funding for gender. All the artists will start talking about gender. Next day they will say inclusion. Everybody will talk about inclusion. The third day they will say diversity. Everybody will talk about diversity. I really feel as artists, we are not machine. We are creative people. Two leaves of different plant cannot be same. In artists, we are so creative. Then how we can become a machine? And my discourse, and that's why why I'm saying in art of working my discourse. I feel that as an artist, it's our responsibility to create a discourse, not follow the discourse. And that is why, like after 2 years, there will be books come about the migration situation in India during the lockdown, how they died and all, and then it will be capitalized. But by then people will die. And after 2 years, the UN will say that here now this issue is important, we'll start talking about it. I really feel that artwork should not wait for somebody else to decide whether this is an important issue or not. And that's why the art of walking was a work to create that discourse on our own. We said very clearly, I said the first day, that even if we will not get a single euro, we will create this work, because we believe that this work, this issue should be raised and talked now. Though, like, the work got support, the work got a lot of support, and because of the work, now we can financially support 100 families for next 3 months. And all these families are the migrant workers who walked from the cities to the villages. So as a work, it is not that we talked about the issue and then we are done, but we also try to find frameworks to create a discourse, which was really important, and then also how that work can financially support few families.
Every day, every night, no name, no coordinates, no place to plant their feet deep in the ground, no language, no food, no family, no songs, no community, no security, no documents, no insurance, erasing them by building walls, by leaving no room to breathe, by arranging them in measurable configurations, by suspecting them, by segregating them, by washing them, by blaming them. What is it like to be them in our city? To be like them is to be like nothing. That is why, my dear friend, you're finding it difficult to understand why he left with his pregnant wife towards his village weeks away. What is it like to be someone else? What is it like to be nothing? What is it like to be someone else?
Some of us are smaller than others, split in two, made of many. I come from a breakaway line, a splintered cell, and the journeys that came before me are entanglements beyond my comprehension, more so the ones I have taken. All of us have always been wandering around, pillaging a place to call home. A piece of land becomes a list of deeds, and her story is written into the battles fought in the name of her ownership. I have always been foreign. I have always been foreign. Dissidence runs through my blood. I was born in Bulawayo. Ogu Wolala is to kill. Why is death a city's namesake? I want to know the entire history of the world. Fill me in on every nook and cranny, the reasons behind each tradition, and everything we have come to unlearn as we travel through ourselves. Names are power in every language, and knowing who I am is tied up in those before, during, and after. I am an imprint, a remnant. Tracing the steps on my own is like rowing nowhere near the water. My tribe is Ndebele, but I left Zimbabwe before I could even speak. I keep saying I am from there, mostly for myself. I am Zimbabwean because I can go there to find those who came before me, but I am not just from Zimbabwe. I've left pieces of myself everywhere I have wandered in and out of. I'm from every moment I have ever encountered. I don't remember my first journey. And we are one of the smallest groups, perhaps because we are split into 1823. Mzilikazi revolts against Shaka, flees the Zulu kingdom and led his followers north through Mozambique. Botswana to Zambia. Mzilikazi conquered his way to Zimbabwe, stealing women and children from tribes too weak to his power in order to build his Ndebele empire. I am not really from anywhere. I can only be where I am. I don't feel good about knowing this, but this is how I have come to exist. I am a remnant of those who walked before me. We are one of the smallest groups. Maybe it's because we are split in two, or perhaps it's because we lost roughly 20,000 in 2 years in Materela, named after a colonial mispronunciation. There was a moment of madness, and we don't have a word for it in my language. It's the rain that washes away the chaffs. An estimated number of deaths, Gukurahundi, was watered down to a moment of madness. We get caught up in the intricate intricacies of being someone who is here but doesn't yet belong. I was born to be a dissident. Yasifundisa ukuthi kuyenzeni
The Home Office has apologised after threatening a man with deportation from the UK.
A firmer and fairer system that will take back control of our borders, crack down on foreign criminals and unleash our country's true potential.
The UK should not be regarded as a place where you can automatically come and break the law by seeking to arrive illegally.
The system that we are introducing is about the brightest and the best, and we do want to end and reduce the level of numbers of people that have been coming to the United Kingdom with low skills.
My name is Tafazu Machenje, and this is my story. This is lived truth. You can't hide from this. You can't turn a blind eye to this. Not now. Not anymore. Your lives have been turned upside down, inside out. Some have experienced uncertainty, limbo, confusion during the early stages of COVID-19. That feeling? That feeling is our reality. My reality. This is something that sanctuary seekers and migrants who have come to the UK have experienced throughout their entire time here, trying to settle and to start safer lives in the UK.
Yeah, it's been a while since I did my last recording. Still kind of in limbo. There's been no progression or no communication really from the government. So obviously my lawyers keep sending me weekly updates, obviously just to bring you guys up to speed. I've still got to take my English test. I've still got to do like I got to meet people and do my biometric scans and all of that stuff. And yeah, obviously due to COVID, I've not been able to do any of that. So yeah, I'm just still kind of like in this unusual place where my visa has expired. I've submitted an application, but it's not going through the motions, or it's not being looked at as far as I'm aware. And yeah, it's just an interesting time, really.
You meet paragraph 276 ADE 113, but failed to meet paragraph 276 ADE 1357, with further reference to paragraph DLRTPR, chapters 1356 and 276 CE. 5 people, 1 family, 7 years, 18 years old. Rejected, rejected, rejected. What are 5 going to do? 4 people, 1 family, 1 has to go. Limbo. 2 years still waiting. Many friends. 20 years old. Okay.
Like, this is insight into your head. It's real.
Mate.
This is a part of you trying to work your way through it.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Don't just kind of think, oh, well, I'm doing it for everyone else, because, you know, you are doing it for yourself as well. And I think as soon as you start thinking that you're just doing it for everyone else, that's you putting yourself at risk.
That's not your responsibility.
No. So you have to be getting something out of it yourself in order to stay healthy.
I mean, I can get myself back into this. One life on hold. 4 letters, 4 people, 1 family. Accept, accept, accept. Rejected. You meet paragraph 276, ADE 113, with further reference to paragraphs DLTPTR 13567, DLTRTPTR, chapters 1356 and 276 CE, with further reference to paragraphs DLTPTR, chapters 1356, 276 CED. You mean paragraph 276 ADE 1356, with further reference to paragraphs DLTPTR, chapters 13567. I fucked up the lines there.
Who cares?
So 22nd of August, 2017. Yeah, so the tribunal is in 2 weeks' time. Don't really know how I feel, to be honest. It's been a whole year. You know, obviously this has been ongoing since 2015, but I've had to defer my final year at university, having to watch all my friends, my girlfriend graduate, and yeah, it was difficult, you know. It was difficult, and it was more upsetting because of the nature that I knew I should be up there with them, you know, and it was something taken away from me, you know, graduating with my friends and supporting each other in such an important moment, and it was difficult, yeah. Difficult to see everyone and be. It wasn't difficult to be happy for them because I was happy for them, and I'm angry that that moment was taken away from me. But you know, like I said, that is just probably the smallest thing that I've had to deal with. You know, not being able to work, having this sort of thing over my head, has mentally challenged me a lot. You know, I've become more of a recluse. I feel like I have some built-up anxiety now all of a sudden, you know, because of this.
Number 1 is recording. John?
Yep.
Okay, and this is the first half of the interview with Tap and Rosie. Take 1.
We moved because there was quite like a lot of xenophobia in South Africa. So I think for my parents it was like a safety thing. My dad's an accountant and he had skills that this country basically wanted. So he came on a higher skilled migrant visa. You know, when we moved over here, it was very much a case of this is now our home, this is what we're going to create, like this is our new life. And when I look back at it now, it's kind of like, yeah, I appreciate what my parents did, because I don't think I would be the person who I am if it wasn't for the case that we moved. You know, you've got the Windrush generation, you've got the Windrush's, you know, kids and grandkids and stuff like that, and you've got people like myself, people who have come to the country with full intentions of contributing and giving everything, and that's not to take away from anyone else, because people are escaping absolute hell to come to a better life, because ultimately we want, you know, if it's not for ourselves, it's for our kids, it's for the people underneath us. And my parents left South Africa for their kids. The process of like all of us reapplying together, it's like, yeah, it's a really tricky one. This, I knew it was something that we had to do. Like, it was, at the time, I think it was like a 5-year route, and we were working towards aiming 5 years, then we get indefinitely to remain, then you get citizenship, and that's it. As a kid, you just think, it's not gonna be that much, you know? Like, you really think of it quite flippantly, and you just want to live your life. You don't think of it, you know? Like, I knew I had all of this stuff going on, but, like, you know, to go back to what I said, when we moved here, we made this our home. We integrated ourselves into society. We made England our home. The feeling of difference definitely came from like the visa aspect. Whenever that situation, that time comes around, when you have to reapply, there's always tension. And I think when we came in 2007, so the hostile environment was kind of in place. It was in place by 2005. So I could always sense like a tension with my parents when that time came around. But also like at school, you know, I lived on the Isle of Wight. There's not really a lot of black people, people of colour. So already there was that sort of difference. And this is something that I look back and reflect on. Like, I had to tolerate a lot. In terms of casual racism, microaggressions, things like that.
you just tolerate it to kind of fit in. And because of, you know, me coming from another country and like really trying my hardest to like integrate into this country, like I just had to take a lot of crap. It's definitely an upbringing that I look back on and I think maybe I should have stood up for myself. Sort of the process of my case was that we all applied as a family, excluding for limited leave to remain. So that's the kind of step before you get indefinite leave to remain and then citizenship. It's such a complex, it's so complex, and I still struggle to get my head wrapped around it. Because of my dad's work, and he would often have to travel around the country, and one of the rules is that you can't stay outside of the UK for a prolonged period of time. But because of how much he stayed outside of the UK, that affected our application. So we then disbanded and we applied, and he had to leave the country. It forces us to separate. So if he wasn't able to work, we weren't able to pay for the visas, we weren't able to pay for like basic living and stuff like that. So he had to leave, and then we applied as a family on the private and family life.
And what does that mean?
So basically I don't know what it means to the letter, but how I perceived it is that you have a right to remain here because your life is here.
So yeah, today is Friday the 31st of March, and today was supposed to be the day the tribunal would happen, but I was advised by my barrister that because there was a lack of evidence that really painted the picture of me as a person, it would be best for me to adjourn. I've built everything up to that point. It takes a barrister to tell me on the day that, more evidence should have been provided. And like I said, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm tired. I've got to stay strong, and I've just got to keep going. I'll be able to just be me. Obviously I am me, but it is difficult having all these limitations. I don't know. So I've just got to keep fighting. I've just got to keep going. And hopefully it won't be fuck.
Insomnia. Don't recognize myself anymore. Helpless, stressed, anxiety. I feel different. I look at people complain about their lives. I just think to myself, you're able to work, to love without worrying that one day you might be deported. Not having to worry about anything, just... I hate my life right now. I know that the day is just around the corner, but I don't think I can keep bearing all this emotion and anger. I can't go out. I talk myself out of things. This is what I've become. I live in this room, this flat. I feel useless and wanted, distance from society. I feel depressed. I feel ashamed. I feel trapped mentally and physically. I feel nothing. Maybe I'm being prepared for something greater. I've learnt that life continues around you while you're still stuck in the same place. Your feet are stuck. You can't do anything but watch people grow, move on in their life. And there you are, just being passed by everyone. That's how it feels. Choose life. Life chose this for me. I made a life from this choice. I may be stuck for now, but I have life in my breath, and I will continue on this path, for this is my life.
So obviously community is a massive part of like any case to remain. So I'm really interested to hear who is in your community, and of course it affects them too. So can you tell us a bit more about who's been there for you and in what ways your community supports you?
Really, it was kind of like my small group of friends, my girlfriend's family, and my family, because I tried to keep it as compact and as tight as possible. Yeah. That was my community for like a very long time.
So you have to ask people in your life to write a letter explaining why they care about you and why you're important to them, and essentially why you're important to the UK.
That specific point where I had to kind of break it and tell people was when I had to basically get more statements of support to reinforce my claim of belonging, my sense of community, the fact that people wanted me here, you know, to really reinforce that I had truly integrated myself into the community and to society. And, you know, for someone who's, at that time, I'd lived in the country for about 10, I don't even know, like the point when we needed, but probably about 10, 11 years. You'd think, yeah, that's a really easy thing, but for a very long time, I didn't want to talk to people about it because obviously there's levels of shame. You feel like you're burdening people with this heaviness. So there was that, but I think mostly like embarrassment as well. I didn't want loads of people, like anyways, I'm a really kind of like close, like small knit people, small group of people. So to kind of like get all of that out there it wasn't me at all, but also just because I just didn't want people to know what was going on. I just didn't tell people for a very long time.
So it almost withdraws you from your own community?
I think the emotional side of being in that position, you feel that within yourself you can't be in and amongst people, because I was in a different mind frame. I was always down, I was, you know, depressed, sad, angry, and to try and surround yourself with people who are bubbly and life is moving on, it's really difficult. So naturally you isolate yourself, even though you know that you should be being, like, you should be a part of the community, you should be getting involved. Obviously you can't get involved in certain aspects, but to just try and be there and be relevant or be present, it's difficult because you're kind of like fighting with yourself mentally. To build up the courage and that's like, okay, this has reached a really desperate point. Again, you're fighting with yourself, but you know that the more that you have, the better. And the more you get, the more it squashes that idea that you aren't a part of a community, you aren't a part of society, you aren't all of these things that they say, you know, that they say you are. Like, you have no sense of belonging, you have none of this. So we can easily send you back because there's no one here who will care for you when you're gone or think of you when you're gone. So you're constantly combating that, and you need those statements of support.
We're back at the beginning, aren't we? Since the last time I've spoken to you guys, Mum's had a stroke. There's been issues with lawyers. Yeah, it's just felt like one thing after the other is going wrong. You know, in the mind frame that I'm in, I'm just thinking that the worst is going to happen. But you know, I've got people around me trying to keep me up and trying to keep me positive. But you know, it is difficult. It's been a long journey and it's been a difficult one, and mentally it's been challenging. You know, there've been moments where I've felt like I've broken down
soul, body, mind, and spirit. I'll pick myself up. You can just hope that tomorrow goes okay.
We appealed. We waited. More months passed. The letter. A decision. It reads, I allow this appeal. We came and we won. Overturned their mistakes. This letter confirmed it. Their mistake overturned. Time to start rebuilding. I left that dark, depressed version of myself with hope and belief. I had dreams and ambitions, hopes and desires, all of which I knew I could achieve. I had drive to make up for lost time. 3 years, a lot of drive. It all feels so unusual, strange and unusual. But that doesn't matter. I know and believe, so nothing can hold me down.
March 15th, 2018. Happy New Year. I don't actually, I've won my case. I've got my passport, I've got my visa back. And now I'm just in the process of trying to find work and trying to get my life back on track, really. It's mad. It is mad, you know, how life continues and how life carries on while you're still in the same place, worrying about the same questions and worrying about the what if moments, you know. I just want to feel that self-worth again. Not something, you know, not taking away from the self-worth I feel when I'm with my friends and my family and my girlfriend. The self-worth that you only obtain through doing, you know, working or writing a dissertation, writing something that, you know, you feel like, yeah, I've done that, you know, something that I feel that I've done that can give me that self-worth feeling again.
Paragraph 276, ADE 112, but failed to meet paragraphs 267, AD 11356, with further reference to paragraph DLT, PT, chapters 135, DLT, RTP, chapters 1356 and 276 CE.
It's been a mad couple of days, weeks. I've done 2 shows now, just taken aback. Honestly, the feedback, how the show has developed, you know, in the last 2 years and to what it is now, it's just absolutely amazing. Rosie, Hannah and John have done like a fantastic job with it, and I'm just so lucky that you know, I've been given this position and this platform to tell my story, and I'm hoping that I make an impact, and it's so rewarding when people come up to me and they talk to me.
For most of my life, I've lived in England, on the island. Sorry, the Isle of Wight. It's where I grew up, became a man or whatever. Sound just like you, don't I? Well, not you specifically. I mean, you could be from anywhere. England made me who I am. The Home Office disagrees. On the day they gave my entire family indefinite leave to remain, they decided to deport me. Why? Because my family didn't have indefinite leave to remain, which they just gave them.
Like, you know, you can see that we've had an impact on people, and you see that they're going to try and challenge the status quo. I'm really enjoying this. I'm really relishing and loving every second and every moment of this. Doing good. We're doing good. any impact that I make, it just reminds me more and more why this is here and why I'm here.
I have to pay a surcharge to use the NHS on top of the tax that I pay as a citizen anyway.
Yeah.
On this visa, I would have to probably reapply 2 or 3 times.
Right.
So that's £3,000 to the NHS.
Yeah. And you're working, paying tax now.
And I'm working, paying taxes now, yeah.
So you're paying twice for that.
So I'm paying twice. And that's the frustrating thing. You see the way that they talk about, you know, migrants and obviously asylum seekers and sanctuary seekers and the language that they use about, you know, they're coming in, they're taking this, they're doing that, they're doing this. But in retrospect, when you actually look at the figures, we contribute so much because we have to pay so much to be here.
Yeah. So you won the appeal and the judge said what?
But one thing that really stood out for me was he said, like, I don't really understand why you are here.
Yeah.
You know? And that, I think everyone who was present was taken aback.
Yeah.
Because finally someone else, someone who had official status, could see that me being there was wrong.
Yeah,
I should never have been there. Yeah, it was a mistake and I should never have been there. And that mistake was 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years, I couldn't work.
Fighting.
I couldn't study. I couldn't do anything. I had to just stay still and try and build a case and wait till I had my tribunal date.
So the judge says this shouldn't have happened. This has been a mistake from the Home Office, that's acknowledged. So then everything is fixed and we're done and it's not the case?
So I don't have indefinite leave to remain. So because of everything that had happened, in the Home Office's eyes, I was technically an overstayer because my visa had expired and throughout the entire period, I was illegally staying in the UK.
But they didn't give you your passport to
leave, yeah.
leave.
So I couldn't leave,
but you weren't allowed to
I wasn't
stay.
allowed to stay. So again, I was caught in just another trap.
Yeah.
So what I got was limited leave to remain outside of the rules. So my appeal was based off the private life, my right to remain in this country based off my private life. So the fact that I'd grown up here, my life is here, my future is here, like I have no other sense of home outside of where I'm at. My family here, like my whole life is here.
Yeah.
I have nothing to go back to, nowhere to go back to. 9 years I've lived in this situation, and you know, even though the judge acknowledged that this was a mistake and you know the fact that I was there in that first place, I shouldn't have been there, but I'm still not out of it. You know, I'm still in this situation, and those 9 years are continuing. We're going on to 10, 11, 12, and until, you know, I couldn't even tell you how many more years it could take. Realistically, it could be 2, 3, 4 more years. If I didn't go on this spousal visa, it could have been another 10 years that I would have had to have gone on it. So by me switching to this route, it hopefully reduces it.
And with just counting those years up,
just counting just counting those years up, and that's the life of a migrant.
I remember being so anxious, like sick to my stomach about, you know, all of the normal things that people worry about at that age. Like, I was really worried about making sure I stay in London and getting a job, and, you know, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and it was like all of these really normal worries when you look back.
Sure.
But I was moaning to you about it, and I was crying to you about it, and there wasn't a moment where Taff was like, look what I'm going through. Why are you moaning about this? I'm going through something far worse, because you kind of blended it into our normal life so well, and that's what I feel bad about. I should have kind of raised it a little bit more for us to talk about it a little bit more, and we just didn't. We didn't really talk about it.
Because it's a difficult thing to talk about. It's a ridiculously hard thing to talk about, and even then we didn't even know what to talk about.
I know.
You know, like my life wasn't moving anywhere.
It was just survival.
Yeah, it was survival. 3 years of just trying to survive, trying and just waiting for that letter to say, okay, right, you have your opportunity to go to a tribunal and to prove your case. So it was, you were able to live your life, and for me, that's what it was. If I was there burdening you in that sense of like continuously reiterating the fact that, hey, look at me, I'm struggling, I'm suffering. That's not a way to live. So why allow them to win and to kind of create this environment and allow it to build when I can just selfishly deal with it myself and allow...
Was it selfish?
I don't know what it is, but selfish feels like the right thing, because I don't know, like I didn't want to just like, you know, we'd only been together for like a year. You know, do you know what I mean? And like to ask someone to firstly join me on this ride, and then secondly kind of like just throw yourself in it, you know.
It's just like the system is...
Yeah.
It's designed to make sure you fail.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing that we've taken away from it, and it might be that we've turned super sour from it, but it is like every single step they're trying to catch you out, and I think it can become really exhausting.
Just to carry on with what you were saying, like the hostile environment is set in place there to make it completely impossible. They want you to leave on your own accord. That's what it's all there for.
So the Home Office's argument on the day of the tribunal was, well, why can't Emily move out there?
Oh, so they would deport...
They would deport a British citizen instead of keeping someone who is British. You are British. They would rather move me out of the country and say, well, if they really loved each other and if they were really strong in their relationship, they can build a life for each other out there.
Considering all the...
At the time, 21.
Yeah.
How long have you been together?
At that time.
2 years, maybe?
Yeah.
I knew you were sad. I knew you were really, really sad. But my way of dealing with things isn't... It might not have been the best, but it was just like, okay, you know, you've not had a good day or you've not had a good week. Let's try and do this. Let's try and do that. Why don't you try and do that? We were surviving up until that moment, and that was our goal of, we just need to get to this date, and then everything will start to feel a little bit better and there'll be an ease of pressure. So when they didn't even bother giving you a judge and we had to adjourn, you know, for another 3 months, it was like, okay, yeah, we need another 3 months to maybe get some more personal statements.
Those
but
3 months were, yeah.
It was like, no, we're going to have to try and survive again for the next 3 months, and we're going to have to go back to that state of mind.
Yeah.
And that's what was hard on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's not you that's the issue. You're not the issue, and it's completely normal with how you felt. And you should talk about it because it's not shameful. And, you know, we're living in a world now where people are listening more than ever. So make sure you're heard, because you weren't heard at the time.
Yeah, no, you're all right. How's everyone?
Yeah, not bad, man. You know,
Classic, mate. Classic joker. You're a classic joker, you are, mate. Bournemouth and stuff. Here's Emily, by the way, everyone.
Hello. Oh my goodness, hi Machenji family.
How weird, isn't it? Like,
it's very formal.
we always speak to all of you individually,
Yeah, that's
but
true.
never together.
It's like a family portrait.
Yeah, I wish all this would go away.
Yeah.
Maybe we can reach to
Much easier to head down. But
so no more excuses, like in that train.
Oh, you know, like the global pandemic and all of those.
hey, no, there is a pandemic. We've got to be safe.
So yeah, just come back from
second tribunal, and I could not have expected it to have gone the way that it went. Granted, I was saying in the previous video that the build up to this week has just been hell. My mum had a stroke. The lawyers, through this, before finishing off the whole thing, but through this process, I've just learned that this whole thing is all about money. Obviously, they want to control migration and etc. and etc. But they're using obviously these big words and these new rules, and I think I say this in a previous video about the way, the structure in which how people are treated. If you're poorer, you get detained, and you get all of those. You're treated below human. You aren't a human. You're a number. You're an object. You're nothing. The more money you have, and the more skilled you are in the government's eyes, then the more likelihood that they'll just keep you on this long, strenuous path of which you're just paying money to the lawyers, money to the government, money to everyone to try and
Will, I
remain
think,
in this
mate,
country.
you're going to have to change your hair. You're going to have to cut it because we look too similar at the moment, so...
Nah, dude, your hair's flaking. Looks like you've got a receding hairline right there.
He has got the Lazarus Michenje haircut at the moment, hasn't he?
I haven't...
Trust me, I can see it.
There is no receding. Bro, look at that. That's not changed. Anyways, guys, I'll speak to you all in a bit.
Bye, Janet.
I love you.
Love you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Can I pick up that social justice point and ask a question about a couple in my constituency? They both work, they have 2 children. The husband's employer didn't put him on the job retention scheme, so he has 0 income. His wife is still working, but her income is less than their household rent. They have leave to remain in the UK, but no recourse to public funds.
What are you going to say? Because we literally have no support. We can't even get support.
Families like that is being forced by the current arrangements into destitution.
What are you going to say?
Why aren't they eligible for universal credit or employment support allowance or any of the other?
It's a very good question.
What do you mean? You should know these things. You're the Prime Minister. This has literally been since 2007. 2007. This is a policy that has been around for so long. How do you not know?
They have this no recourse to public funds. At the moment, they can get no help at all.
Where are they actually from?
Honestly, what?
I'm thinking of from Pakistan, but it applies to anyone.
Okay.
From outside the UK.
And they can't get furloughed. Obviously not. Well, look, I'm going to have to come back to you on that.
What?
Because
I'm so honestly. How do you not know this? You are the Prime Minister. You've been a Tory member for God knows how long.
I've supported one kind or another, but you've raised
mate, honestly, what a joke. What an absolute joke. What a joke. This is ridiculous. And I'm not surprised because it means nothing to you. These people mean nothing. Us, we mean nothing.
I'll be most grateful. The Children's Society said, I think 2 weeks ago, there are at least 100,000 children in families in exactly that position. They've got leave to remain, they're law-abiding, they're hardworking, they've got no recourse to public funds, and many of them can get no help at all at the moment. So I'll be very grateful.
Listen to that.
We look forward to a letter on this.
Wow. Wow.
Coronavirus is a thing, self-isolating and trying to apply for a new visa rather, but also extend my current visa, which is expiring in May. Shit scary, difficult time. Obviously there's a lot of stress and pressures anyways, as it is with self-isolation and being at home, finding to environment. Very much feels like when I was declined my visa and obviously had to remain. I wasn't able to work or do anything, so it feels very much like that. So for me, it's nothing extreme, which is quite sad because I've experienced
experienced all of this already. You know, I see they're talking a lot on the news, obviously, about people's health and mental health and things like that, and they're taking into account the old, the young, the poor, but no one's talking about refugees and asylum seekers and people who, you know, who have added pressures anyways, as it is with being second-class citizens, or migrants or refugees or asylum seekers, like I said, and the implications that this might be having on them.
I've come this far. I've lost and sacrificed so much. I've also gained and learned so much. I can't let them win. Not after all of this. My friends, my family, my partner, my partner's family, my co-workers, my life. I've lived and grown up here. I can't give that up. I won't. I can't give up for all of those who would sacrifice everything for what I have. I see what I have here, what I've prevailed through, the good and the bad, all here. I can't throw it away. Neither can they. My life, my future is here. For those of you watching, listening to me now, who need to hear this, just like I did, keep going. I'm with you. They will never shut me up.
We're good?
All right, ready.
This is my home. I've lived here. I don't know what to say. Don't say the right thing, just say what needs to be said.
There is no right thing. The only thing we can do is make sure you feel like you've said something you wanted to say.
Yeah. I'm somebody. I have dreams, I have goals, I have ambitions. My life was swept away from me and has been swept away from countless others for no reason, often for inhumane reasons, and we've been blamed. We've had to endure living and being treated second class, often not even thought about at all. I think you'll never be able to truly understand what we go through. To even try and explain it won't do it justice, because I'm so confused. I don't understand. I don't know why I'm in this position. I shouldn't be in this position. I shouldn't be in this chair talking to you, but I'm here. I'm here right now talking to you, and you need to listen. You need to act, because we've been talking and we've been having the government do all sorts of things, but nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, and nothing will change until we act, until you act, until you get up and you scream, because thousands are screaming and not being heard. I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't be here, but I'm here, and you need to do the same.
For the first time, we're honest about how fucking confused you are.
Like, you're trying to explain it, but it's fine that
Yeah,
you're
it's
not
not
able
your
to
job
explain
to
it, but
explain
just be
it.
honest. Because when you're honest,
that's when
Yeah.
you were honest, and that's when it started.
10 mesi che poi vabbè, quindi... And then she said, I don't know why she talked about it. Yeah, like one day. And because, and why this might happen is because
questa per sicurezza.
Aha, interessant.
It like it good.
Nej, här är han på bordet. Det var hans stöd.
Jo.
Their son, surprisingly. And that was it. I said like, oh, I actually...
It brings me back to nature.
Yes.